25th, 2025. Can we please salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair and members of the audience, can you please remain standing for a moment of silence and reflection for two staff members passed away recently, Ms. Barbara Pooler and Ms. Katie Lennon. A moment of silence for those educators, please. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Woburn School Committee this evening. Could the superintendent please call the roll?
Mr. Austin. Present. Ms. Chisholm.
Here.
Ms. Cormier.
Here.
Mr. Lipset. Present. Mr. Morenin.
Present.
Ms. Wetzel.
Present.
Ms. Crowley.
Present. We all here and accounted for. Moving on with the agenda to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come and speak before the committee? I'm seeing one. When you speak to the school committee in public comment, you are agreeing to be recorded. And obviously, we are also live on YouTube. Additionally, I would ask you to refrain from direct attacks against anyone in public school staff. And you have 3 minutes. And I think that's it. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ken Parley, 5 Marion Street, North Woburn. I just wanted to come here and publicly say thank you. I appreciate all you guys. I know there's a lot going on here. It's going to get really noisy, but I just want to say thanks, you know? Pat you on the back. Appreciate you guys. That's all.
On behalf of the committee, you're welcome. Thank you, sir. All right.
Top-notch.
That was easy. Okay.
You can go longer.
We're done. Well, I feel fulfilled. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come and speak before the committee? Hello, Ms. Tisdale. Nice to see you this evening. You heard the caution I gave?
The what?
All the rules.
The rules.
Oh, I did hear the rules.
Yes. All right, great.
Thank you. That was be a tough act to follow. Yeah. But, so good evening, Alex Tisdale, 5 Majority Lane. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the school committee and administration for all of the hard work that went into making the new playground at the Malcolm White a reality. The excitement from the kids has been pretty incredible. Personally, I overheard my 6-year-old telling random adults about the playground plans at a birthday party over the weekend. And there's a little crew of kids who play after school together regularly, and they were all watching the construction yesterday, and it was so cute. They were very into the excavator, so it's just been awesome so far to see it get started. The impact of this new playground is going to be huge. It's safe, accessible to children of all motor and developmental abilities, and it gives kids the outlet they need to move and get their energy out, which ultimately helps them learn better in the classroom. While we'll miss the special slide in the back, sometimes there is a trade-off to this special those.
That slide.
I also want to recognize and thank the City Council for their role in making this happen. The project is such a great example of the progress that can be made through collaboration, something that's not particularly easy in any arena. But I hope we can continue to see that same spirit of teamwork here in Woburn as we continue to work to strengthen our schools and community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing phase 2 next fall or whenever to finish the project. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on. Anyone else in the audience that would like to come and speak before the committee? Pregnant pause. No? Okay. Moving on. I do not see, I still think it's Mr. Viola, the City Council liaison to the school committee. So I'll move on. Student representative to the school committee. Hi there.
Caitlin's here.
Caitlin, nice to have you. This is the Woburn School Committee. My name is Ellen. I'm the chair. Would you like to, did you prepare anything for us tonight?
Yeah, I have a few things to talk
Great.
about.
We'll have the floor. Thank you.
I'm Caitlin Castaldi. I'm a senior at Woburn Memorial. I participate in a few different sports and clubs, and I just want to talk about some of the upcoming activities and other things going on at the high school. So first, next Friday is going to be pretty eventful. We have the Activities Fair, which is where all of our clubs and even some sports teams who are looking for more numbers will set up a booth, and each student from each grade will come down. They'll sign up for what they're interested in, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You get to explore new things, meet new people. It's really nice. Everyone gets along really well. And then next Friday as well, we'll be having class elections, where we'll do our speeches, and I think voting will happen the day, like Monday following. Another thing we wanted to talk about is that we have a new parking policy. So everyone paid about $30 and you got a parking pass, and that just ensures that everyone who's in the parking lot should be there, that we're safe, and I think it's going well. I haven't heard any complaints from my friends, and of course a lot of us are driving. So yeah, that's going well. All of our sports are in full action and everything's going well. I myself am a part of the cross-country team in the fall and wrestling in the winter. And it's great. I think we all build such a good community and we're all really there for each other. So we also have a pass system, hall passes. So each floor has their own color-coded pass, and that's how we keep track of, where is the student coming from and where they're ending up. And I'd say for the majority, teachers are doing a really good job of sticking to that, and it's working well. So then a few things have changed with the bathrooms. In the past, there's been some incidents, that we had to close down majority of the bathrooms, if not all of them. And now we have designated bathrooms at designated times that are monitored by teachers. I know Mr. Quayle was saying that he is thinking of opening up a couple unmonitored bathrooms and testing the waters on that to see how it goes. But generally speaking, with the bathrooms, it's going well. It's definitely difficult at times to find one that's open, especially if you don't know the schedule of, okay, D2 bathroom is open and E4 bathroom's open 4th period, but then your 5th period and you have no idea. But he did say all the bathrooms have the schedule posted, so if you go to the wrong bathroom, you can find where you need to be. And yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. That was a fantastic update, Ms. Castaldi. I really appreciate it. Do we have any questions for our student rep this evening? Yes, Mr. Mulrennan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could, Katie, tomorrow night, the volleyball team at Woburn High School is having their breast cancer fundraiser, I understand.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. I know it's a great fundraiser. There's lots of raffles and other events for that, if you are aware of that.
Yeah, of course. So I played volleyball freshman and sophomore year, so I have some pretty good insight on that. It's a great fundraiser. I mean, there is baked goods, they play some games, everyone goes into a raffle. It's a really great experience, and everyone shows up in pink, everyone's decorated. It's a really great atmosphere, so I highly recommend.
Thank you for that.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Wetzel.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here. Thank you for that fantastic update. It's really great to get an insight into the school and to the students, and it was wonderful to hear how great everything is going and your positive attitude. So thank you, and look forward to hearing more.
Of course, thank you.
Fantastic. Anyone else? So, Caitlin, you are welcome to stay. You are a very important member of this committee. Your role is you can deliberate and you can give us some insight in what the student perspective and anything that we're debating at any time. And tonight you can stay, or of course, if you have homework and a million other things to do, you may leave. So I'll leave it up to you, but just know that you are a very important person in this room. Okay.
Thank you.
Not to feel bad as she leaves.
Right. Exactly. So
Well, she told me she was doing homework, came to do this, and so.
we know how it is.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and if you ever have any questions on what you need to present or what the school committee would like to hear, you can talk to Mr. Quayle about it, or myself, or the nice lady next to you, Ms. McLeod. All right?
Okay,
Awesome.
sounds good.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
loved having you. And let you decide whether or not you want to stay or not. All right.
I might have to go. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, moving on to reports and presentations of superintendent and staff.
So,
You want to go?
well, tonight, the first on the agenda is a CPAC update. Mr. Adam Chapman is here to provide that, I believe. I saw him walk in. There we go. So, and CPAC is an acronym for Special Education Parent Advisory Committee, so,
Correct. Council.
council, sorry.
But committee would work too.
Okay.
Yes, my name's Adam Chapman. I am with the Woburn Special Education Parent Advisory Council. I was here last December as the member at large charged with raising awareness about CPAC and recruiting new members. Tonight, I'm here to share some updates, so thank you, Ms. Crowley, for letting me come and do that this evening. For those unfamiliar, the Woburn CPAC, we're a state-mandated advisory group that provides advocacy and support for parents, guardians, and educators of children ages 3 to 22 with special education needs. We're a citywide organization of parent volunteers working together with teachers, administrators, and the school committee and the community to provide an educational environment that's innovative, challenging, safe, and nurturing for all children. So, updates. CPAC membership currently is the highest it's been in a decade, and we're still growing. Per our bylaws, we held elections last May and now have a full functioning board. A new president, myself, vice president Alex Tisdale, who was just up here, secretary Maura Petty, and treasurer John Wetzel. We also have CPAC members acting as school liaisons at all of our schools, as well as a dedicated out-of-district liaison and a dedicated community liaison. I'd like to thank the school committee for all the support as we've rebuilt over the last year, but really focusing on the last 6 months. And I want to especially single out Mr. Austin, who was instrumental in helping me as a committee of one to make connections and disseminate information in those early weeks and months we were trying to get things back up and running. So thank you very much, Mr. Austin. I appreciate all your help. I'd also like to thank Dr. Crowley, Dr. Ryan, and their teams for their help in those areas as well. It really was instrumental in getting us to where we are now. Earlier this month, we circulated our first survey of the school year, soliciting feedback from families who participated in Woburn's extended school year program. Our secretary, Maura Petty, is going to prepare a summary that we'll give to you, Ms. Ryan, and we'll give to the school committee as well. Just a quick overview. We were able to get some feedback, some great feedback from parents that during the school year participate or have kids that participate in RISE 1 and 2, GAIN, PALS, general education kids that took part in ESY this year. The feedback was robust and detailed. There were some positives to share. There were some things that we think would make sense moving forward into next year. So we'll get that put together for you and submitted probably next week. We just closed it. We had it open for about a week, and we just closed it a couple of days ago. So we're taking some time to put a report together. As an advisory body, that's kind of what we do. We'll continue to gather and provide data to Woburn Public Schools and the school committee that we hope will help shape special education policy moving forward. Moving on, we'll be holding our first meeting of the school year this coming Monday, September 29th, 6:30 p.m. in the Woburn Public Library Program Room. That's downstairs, conveniently located across from the children's room. We've actually had a parent volunteer who's also an educator step up to help look after kiddos in the children's craft room during the meeting. Our goal this school year, as it has been in previous school years, is to make things as accessible as possible. The library is a great meeting place. Plenty of parking. It's also on the bus line. We're planning to meet occasionally at the Community Resource Center, which is a great space that we've been able to meet in as a board. We're hoping to have larger meetings there. Also T-accessible, ample parking over at the Cummings Center. We'll have some virtual meetings this school year. Again, all kind of, keeping that accessibility in focus. And we'll provide childcare as often as we possibly can. We want to give parents of children with disabilities every opportunity to take advantage of CPAC's events, advocacy, and community. We hope you can join us on Monday, those watching as well. You'll get the schedule for the upcoming school year. You'll get an opportunity to meet parents of kids like yours, and maybe even some answers to questions or solutions to problems you might have. Lastly, put one more date on your calendar, please. Wednesday, October 15th, 6:30 p.m., the return of the Woburn CPAC School Committee Candidate Forum, live in the Woburn Memorial High School Auditorium. It'll be streamed and recorded by WPMC as well. It'll be our third time hosting this event. It's a great way for the community to get to know who's running for school committee, and it's a great way for the candidates to share their platforms. All 10 candidates have confirmed their participation. And we'll be soliciting questions at our Monday night meeting because that's kind of how we do it, is we crowdsource questions from the community and try to come up with a good representation of what parents and what members of the community want to hear from these school committee candidates. So that's another reason to join us on Monday night. We're still in the process of taking a look at what that's going to look like. We haven't dealt with 10 candidates before, having to ask the same question of 10 people. Maybe only 4 or 5 questions, so we're going to have to do a really good job of putting it together in a way that gives every candidate an opportunity to showcase. In the meantime, you can connect with resources and connect with us at WoburnCPAC.org. We check our email daily. We're really good, now that there's more than one of us, getting back to people. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present this evening. I'll be back in a couple of months with another update.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Would you mind answering some questions that the committee has?
Not at all.
Great. Ms. Wetzel.
First, thank you. Love your energy. Really excited to hear that the CPAC has the most amount of people it's had in a decade. I think that's fabulous. And it's beginning of the school year, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it's only going to grow.
I hope so.
Yeah. And I also want to say thank you, too, for your schedule that you posted for your meetings for the whole year. I think that's super helpful for us as a committee and then for parents so that you can plan because life gets
Yes.
super busy. So I really appreciate you doing that. And I had a question to SSA, the subcommittee Mr. Mulrennan chairs. Would it be helpful for CPAC to be invited to those meetings to share
Sure.
updates on things?
By all means, that would be great. We would love to have that connection. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And thanks for the shout on the schedule as well. This is the first time in a long time we've been able to do that because we have the people power to do it now. And just because you brought it up, I did want to recognize, too, that I had mentioned earlier that we try to have a mix of meeting locations and virtual and in person to make it accessible. We also change up the day of the week. I know it's a lot of times it's convenient for a group to say, we meet the last Wednesday of every month. But for a parent that works the last Wednesday of every month now, they can't become involved. So we try to change it up so that, as you'll see on the schedule, so that it's different days of the week, sometimes different times of the month, to ensure that everybody can, at least throughout the course of the school year, make it to 1 or 2 meetings. So
We're
thank
thinking
you.
of everything.
Trying to.
Is there anything we can do as a committee to help support you as a CPAC?
Yes, we will let you know. We've got a lot of, now that we've kind of laid out the schedule and now that we've kind of looked at the events and the things that we want to do, we have a couple of other irons in the fire of eventually building a Friends of the CPAC that's attached to us that will allow us to raise funds and be able to do more programming. And also to eventually, a goal by the end of the school year is to have a dedicated parent support group. There's always space at a CPAC meeting for parents to come and talk to other parents, unburden themselves in an anonymous way if they want to talk about what's going on, because we think that's a big, important part of CPAC as well, is that community aspect of being able to connect with other parents that are going through what you're going through, raising a kid with disabilities, raising a special education kid. It's a different set of challenges, so it's nice to have other parents to talk to. So that'll continue to be an aspect of our meetings and our events, but we'd also like to grow that into its own separate entity, so a few times a year we're getting together for that specific purpose. So as those plans develop, we will certainly be leaning on school committee for their support.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
I'm happy to help, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Anyone else? Mr. Chapman? Mr. Mulrennan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, madam. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well.
I know you
thank
mentioned coming up with your meeting at the library, you have a parent volunteering to help keep an eye on the little ones. Perhaps you could check with both Mr. Quayle and the Joyce Middle School and the Kennedy for years awards, get some
Yes.
students involved in helping out with the little ones at the library that night, as well as, your upcoming meetings, to get the kids some years awards and be around the great organization the CPAC's offering. And I love your sweatshirt, and what's the hat mean?
this is actually a Lowell Spinners hat.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not. I guess I need a Woburn Tanner's hat, but this was the first one that I grabbed when I was on my way out the door.
I appreciate the spinners.
Yes, thank you. You're a baseball guy. You get
well, I like
it.
the shirt.
But thank you. That is something that thank you for the reminder, and I'll be reaching out to you because yes, we would love to be able to get the kids involved at the high school with these events that we have to help us out with little childcare. We have some people that look after the kids, so parents can again be able to come and take part in the meeting in a productive way, and the kids get the S hours, so everybody wins.
And it's funny you talk about scheduling. Matter of fact, tonight, the best buddies at Woburn High School, they're having a program as well. At the same time, we're having this meeting, so you can't be everywhere you want to be, but
No, everybody's having their back to school night tonight too. I feel like
Very busy time.
Stoneham and Melrose and all the towns around. So yeah.
appreciate what you're doing, Adam.
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan. I appreciate that.
Anyone else? Mr. Chapman? I'll just let you know that I met with the superintendent prior to this meeting, and we were always trying to talk about how we can promote our programming in the district and really try to educate people as to what robust programming we have here and how the success of our programs and the hardworking our educators in these programs and really trying to educate the public into our program, particularly the substantially separate. You mentioned PALS and ECP, and so it's always our goal to highlight these successes of students, various students in the district. So really appreciate
Absolutely.
our partnership.
Yes.
And all the work that you're doing on behalf of the committee. And it sounds like multiple committee members will be going to CPAC meetings and really, fostering that relationship going forward. Because I remember when I first got on the committee, it was a very robust
Yes.
CPAC.
It cycles
So
through.
I'm really excited to see it come back that way.
It is nice. I've been involved as a volunteer going back 12 years now. I served as treasurer for 3 terms, so that was 3 two-year terms, so 6 years. And I've definitely seen, and I know Dr. Ryan can speak on this because you have a background with CPAC as well. It cycles through. You have parents that get involved, and of course, the parents that are involved are also parents of kids with disabilities. And the burnout rate is pretty high because you're working, you're looking after your kids, you're looking after kids with disabilities,
Yes.
you're volunteering your time. So we've been very lucky right now where it seems that there's this nice groundswell here in the city of Woburn of parents that want to engage and get involved again. And that's what we're looking to tap into. So if you're seeing this and that speaks to you, come to our meeting, please, at the library on Monday night at 6:30. We'd love to meet you.
I know Dr. Ryan has worked with CPAC for years. And
Absolutely.
Has an excellent relationship.
Yep.
Nice two-way communication. So we look forward to seeing CPAC developing and, again, fostering a good relationship between the two entities.
We look for the same. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Have a good
for
night.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Joyce Middle School update. I see we have the principals
Yeah, so
in the audience. Go ahead, Dr. Crowley.
there's no walk-up music, sorry, guys. But just an opportunity to meet people in new roles, not new faces necessarily, but new roles, an opportunity to hear from them. Mr. Ken Mills is the interim principal here at the Joyce, and Mr. Jim Bynington is the interim assistant principal this year, and so I'll turn it over to you to provide your update. I have the slides behind you, so if you I'll try to anticipate when you want me to click, but... Yeah.
And before you do that, Mr. Byington, congratulations on the role. I don't know if I sent you an email, but I meant to. So on behalf of the committee, we're very excited to see you in this position. I know that we sent an email to Mr. Mills, but this is a very dynamic duo here. So I'm really excited to see what unfolds at the Joyce. So
I'm just going to hit the lights above you so people can see the screen, so don't be alarmed.
Thank you for inviting us this evening. Quick agenda up there. We'll talk quickly about how we started the year, supporting students, go over a little bit of leadership updates, talk about some of the goals at the Joyce, and then we'll do a quick looking ahead. We had a great, strong start to the school year. I think the students and staff are settling in nicely. We started our fundraiser, which offsets a lot of our costs for field trips and stuff like that the students do. Joyce store's open, up and running, selling stuff pretty much at cost. I think it's cheaper than what you can buy it at Staples right now. We also have a Joyce merchandise store up and running online, so students can get their Joyce merchandise, and I already had a few school committee members asking me about
Already done.
grandkids getting stuff. We have implemented a strict no cell phone policy. I know that's going into effect next year. Per Massachusetts, we have always had no cell phone policy in our handbook, but it's kind of been loose. If we don't see it, we don't say anything. This year we've been in your lockers right at 8 o'clock, and they don't come out till 2:25. And that's cut down on a lot of students going in the bathroom, texting friends, texting parents. So we've seen a lot of less traffic in the hallways, less traffic in the bathrooms. So it's definitely working. We have to stay consistently on making sure they're away. But we've had very few problems this year with that.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
I would just say, too, that the teaching staff has been great about helping out with that. It's not just us walking around trying to grab phones. They were enthusiastic about, our desire to enforce it, so they were more than happy to help out.
Wow, great.
And, it's like anything else. Once kids get in the routine, it gets easier. So, yeah, it's been good.
Okay.
Comes part of my daily morning announcement, make sure your cell phone's away, so nobody forgets. And quick other update, we did have new locks put on all the doors in the school. So that's been very helpful, and I think the staff appreciated that, so thank you, because I know that was a lot of money, but the staff definitely appreciated that the doors can lock just by a push of a button now. So thank you. We have a lot in place supporting students and families here at the Joyce. We do have a Joyce Exchange Closet, which I think you'll see some pictures up there, fully stocked with personal hygiene, food, clothes. We've already had students down, I think, the second day of school, coming down asking us for stuff. So it's very helpful for the students. I know we're here to educate them. There's a lot more that goes on outside of school, that if they're not supported in many other areas other than just academically, then they're going to fall behind. So that's been going great. We had picture day the other day, worked out great. I know my mother's already asking me where's my picture to hang on the refrigerator. So I know all the parents out there are happy we got pictures taken care of right away. We have already completed most of our STARS testing, DIBELS, district common assessments, have been administered. They provide us an early insight into academic support needs. I know years ago we used to test everybody at the very end with MCAS, and then we say, oh, we dropped the ball, we didn't do this or that. Now we're testing them probably the third, fourth day in school. They are getting tested to see where they are behind a little bit, where we can focus on. We're starting from day one doing that. And that just helps us adjust as we're going through the school year. It's not tested in the beginning of the year and drop it. They're tested throughout the whole year now. And a lot of these tests, so hopefully we're getting them before we get to the end of the year and say, oh, we dropped the ball here or there. So it's definitely an advantage. Late bus is starting next week, along with our after-school extra help program. So that should support any of the students that need any little additional help, or just someplace quiet to do their homework. A lot of students don't have someplace quiet at home to do homework, so that works out great. Quick update on leadership changes. I know part of it's already, but transitioning to the principal position from assistant role, it's been challenging. I'm not going to say it hasn't, but it's been incredibly rewarding and a great learning experience. And I've been grateful to the staff, the school committee, administration, community here for welcoming me. It's made it very easy to transition, so I appreciate that. Thank you. And hopefully I can grow professionally and personally in this new leadership role. And I had a great mentor, so he'll get to talk afterwards. He wanted to see how to do the presentations. He wanted to go second.
You have a picture
Couple quick strengths that I feel I have: extensive knowledge of the school layout, the culture of the building, environment, procedures here, some of the software programs, a lot of legal procedures that we follow here, protocols, deep understanding of relationship with staff, with the students, with administration. So I think I was able to jump right in and get things moving right away. And fairly creative with problem solving. So hopefully we've had a smooth transition. Everybody's seeing that on your end. Some of my focus areas for growth for this year: to manage my time more efficiently, prioritize responsibilities and delegate tasks appropriately and effectively, and a deeper ability to lead inclusive and collaborative vision building with focus on collective ownership and an authentic opportunity for input, connecting day-to-day work to long-term strategic goals. I think we all have long-term goals, and I'm going to cover some of them in a couple of minutes, but I'll let Mr. Byington jump in here and we'll go back to just some of the overarching goals for the year.
So as you said, Dr. Crowley, not new face, just new job. So this is actually the start of my 15th year at Joyce. And when we say it out loud, it seems like a long time. We were just chatting at the table over there about, the days of the clap. Wow. Yeah.
I remember.
So, I think that allows me, the fact that I've been here for so long, it gives me a head start, I think, in this job, because I'm not trying to learn the place, I'm not trying to learn the people, I'm not trying to learn, the bosses. So that I'm hoping I can continue to leverage that. I'm very organized just by nature, so I've spent a lot of time with students, with the guidance department, making sure the schedules, we're doing the schedules are correct, making changes on those. put together some Google Forms to track various things, discipline issues, things like that. And actually, about 10 of 7, I finished with the activity period selections, so that's finally done. We're going to roll that out tomorrow. Big areas for me, though, that I'm going to have to get used to. I think the first is schedule. I'm used to having, again, 15 years, I've had every minute of my day scheduled. And now I've got to learn to prioritize tasks. I've got to figure out, what things I can push off maybe till tomorrow, which things I have to jump on today. Every day I run into kind of best laid plans. I have things I'd like to do, but then student issues come up, things like that. So I'm learning to navigate that. Building relationships with families is the second bullet point, and that's very important. I think from my new job, my new position, I hope that it's not, my name is not one that everyone associates with negativity because I'm the discipline guy. So that's something I want to make sure that I'm working on as well. And then nuts and bolts stuff, really. Software, the data management system, the admin side of it is very different than the teacher side of it. So Ken's been helping me out with that. Val's been helping me out with that. And we've had a couple of conversations about various legalities and how to proceed with things like suspensions and that sort of thing. So that's something else that I'm rapidly getting up to speed on. But on the whole, I think things have been going well. 3 weeks in, and I'm enjoying it. It's different. So I'm learning something every day. Listen, it's great because my favorite thing to do is learn. And so this is giving me that opportunity again. Whereas I had done the same thing for such a long time. So I'm enjoying it. I'm excited about it. And yeah, I think it's going well.
Great.
I put down just a quick few overarching goals just for the year. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but one of the goals was to enhance academic support and intervention, and we're doing that through the STARS, DIBELS, common assessments, jumping on those right away, and figuring out where students are weak from the very beginning. Our second goal on there that I put down was to foster a safe and inclusive and supportive school climate. We've expanded our social emotional program. We have student support programs in place now, and we're continuing to develop the Joyce Exchange Closet. Third one was improve family and community engagement. We're doing that through multiple of areas. We had back to school night the other night, programs that we're running at school, concerts, stuff like that, and trying to strengthen partnership through organizations. My business teacher, they actually asked if we could have possibly a local business come in and talk to the kids during the business class, which I think would be a great idea. So we're going to look into doing that. And the last one was to support the staff through growth and leadership, and we're trying to foster teacher leadership through collaborative planning and mentoring roles, which I think is working out well so far. So the very last slide is just looking ahead a little bit. Continue to focus on our student-centered decision-making. Collaboration with families, I think, is very big. I have continued Mr. Quayle's newsletter, not quite as often as he has, but I think there's been 2 or 3 that have gone out so far in the past month, so trying to get them out every other week to keep up with that. And always looking at our goals and seeing where we are throughout the year. I don't think we should be setting goals and then looking at them at the end of the year and say, hey, how did we do that? We should be looking at our goals continuously, so we're changing. As I think Dr. Crowley said, if we're all rowing together in the same direction, we're doing much better. So I think that's a big key thing. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions from the committee? Ms. Cormier.
Thank you. I'm wondering how we can find out what's needed in the exchange closet if we wanted to make donations. I know these things usually have plenty of clothes. They tell people not to bring clothes. But what kind of things how can we help with the closet, I guess?
The easiest way is to drop up gift cards to Market Basket, to be honest with you. That's probably the easiest way. I had a staff member ask me today for students that want to catch up, to be honest with you. Sure. We don't have ketchup in there, I'll be honest. He was all upset. Mom hasn't bought ketchup for a while. That was his big thing. We don't have ketchup in there. Not something I have someone drop off, but if we had a gift card, we could go out and get that stuff. So gift cards to Market Basket are probably the easiest way, and then we can go go out and get what students are specifically looking for.
Yeah. And for the late bus, how does that work, I guess, for my own and for the people at home? Like, where does it go? Does it go all over?
So it drops off only students on this side of town. In the Joyce area, we have probably 10 or 11 stops that it'll make. And it pretty much hits everywhere on this side of town. So it also is dropping off at the Boys and Girls Club also. That was something we added last year. And we also added a stop this year on our regular bus route for the Boys and Girls Club, even though it's on the other side of town.
Right. Well, I know my niece is already afraid of both of you, so I think you're doing a great job.
That's not really what we're looking for. That's not our goal.
It's working, so.
A healthy fear.
Yes. Afraid how much we love you.
Healthy social. Ms. Wetzel.
Hi, thank you. This is a great presentation. Super excited to hear how things are going. I love that you're going to be tracking all of your goals. I think that's wonderful, and hopefully you can come back and report on all the good things. And on the Joyce Exchange, if people want to bring gift cards in, they just bring those to the front office?
They can bring them to Val.
Okay.
Yes.
And the homework help that happens that'll be starting, I guess, next week. Are there people there? Are there like teachers there to help, or is that individual students just working maybe amongst themselves?
There are 2 teachers in that classroom that
Awesome.
are pretty well versed in all subjects.
Wow. That's fabulous. That's a really good opportunity for kids. And then on a really positive note, I was speaking with a new parent at the school, a 6th grader, and this kiddo is thriving, has nothing but good things to say about the school, the teachers, the kids, really coming into his own. So you're doing a great job. He's having a good year. So
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Are
Wetzel.
they scared of him?
they're not. This kid is like, happy, very happy. So not
Mr.
scared yet.
Lipset, then Mr. Austin.
So first of all, thank you and welcome not here, but to new positions. My son has not expressed any fear of you, Mr. Mills, a little bit, maybe of you, Mr. Mike. A good amount.
He's got 8
the
or 10 inches
appropriate
on
amount. But I can't speak highly enough about the Joyce, about the staff, about your leadership. What I've seen has been really, really exciting. I know that I can only see through my son sometimes, but he's really grown as a Joyce student, and I know a lot of that is thanks to you. So thank you. I'm curious about the cell phone policy and how we handle things like exceptions, students who may need it for a diabetes monitor or some form of adaptive technology, translation, things like that.
So if we do have a doctor's note, of course, we will look into it. I don't have anybody this year that I have monitored them with cell phones. I know in the past we have, but I don't have anybody this year. The Chromebooks, for the most part, will translate to anything they need, so there's nothing they need for their cell phone.
Okay.
The diabetes also, and if someone had a cell phone, of course, we would honor it, but I believe they can also put it onto an iPad and do it that way. So I think there are other ways we can look into it, but this year, at least right now, we don't have anybody that has an exception, but we certainly consider that if the doctor sent a note in.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lipset. Mr. Austin?
Thank you. I can't think of 2 greater men to be in those positions. The 2 of you have been a positive influence on my children and my family. So I mentioned this before, Mr. Mills, you were, when my youngest son was not behaving very well in school, you became almost the dad at school on my behalf. So I'm always grateful for that. Right now he's in college, he's doing well.
Great.
And
Good to hear.
Byington, my eldest daughter would come home and say, Mr. Byington said, and I'm like, I've been saying that for 6 years. Like, he said it one day, and now you're taking it into account. So I'm grateful that you guys took the willingness to step up, and I see you're continuing to stay sharp with those nice suits. Outside of that, I actually just wanted to, because you guys mentioned a few times about discipline, and as I've been hearing, kids are fearful. I'm an advocate for students, so young people. So I'm wondering, have you guys considered restorative practices or anything outside of suspension? Is that something that has been in the talks, or maybe having both parties coming together and maybe involving parents, community members to have a restorative circle? That way suspensions may not necessarily have to take place. I'm just curious if you thought about that.
So I don't think we've had any outside out-of-school suspensions this year at all yet. And a lot of times our guidance counselors get involved well before we get to that point. So our guidance department's used an awful lot, and our adjustment counselors used an awful lot of sitting down with students to work out differences. From day one, there's already conflicts. So, and they sit there and work with the students an awful lot. So yes, there's a lot going on before we even get to the point of even consider discipline.
Okay, excellent. Another question, I guess, is a lot of times we hear about those that are the aggressor, those that caused the situation of trouble. But are you guys implementing or doing anything for those that are victims? A lot of times the victim kind of gets pushed to the side while those that are the aggressor maybe gets sent to the detention or whatever, and there's no one paying attention to the person that was caused harm. And has there been any implementation in that regard?
So, I mean, Mr. Byington already has a safety plan in place for students. You can.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so when we have these types of situations that you're talking about, we'll implement a safety plan for the victim. And that will involve, specific steps. There's a specific point person that's available to that person at all times. And various other things. They may be allowed to come in the building early, may be allowed to use different bathroom facilities if that's an issue. But yes, we do try to, I want to say accommodate, but that's not the right word, that's not strong enough. But we do try to focus on that person and making sure that that person's well-being is ensured.
Okay, the reason I asked is because I have dealt with situations with my own family, and when my son and his friends was called the N-word, we did not get a phone call. We did not get any kind of conversation, but I'm assuming the victim, the agitator did. And that's what that's a concern for me, because a lot of times those that are in the victim position have to almost dust your shoulders off and keep moving, like as if nothing happened. But a lot of times their mental health and well-being is affected, and it's not being looked at. So I'm just curious to know how we're handling those that are the victim of the situation, and I just want to bring that to
Well, I will say that we do go out of our way to make sure that we contact
Excellent.
the
Good to
parents
know that.
of both parties.
Last thing is that you guys mentioned about, I'll jump off what Ms. Comier mentioned, is finding ways to have items gifted or gift cards. Have you guys thought about Amazon wish lists? I see a lot of folks using that. That way people just go on there and purchase and be shipped to the school. Just a thought. I just wanted to bring it up.
We haven't. That might be something we can look at. Certainly. A lot of times it's odds and end things that students are asking about. So, I mean, maybe Amazon ships ketchup. I don't know.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's odds and ends things that someone's asking if we had a gift card. We could send one of our guidance counselor, Mr. Byington and I could stop at Market Basket on an afternoon and pick up some stuff somebody specifically needed.
Right.
Where Amazon may take a few days for it to get it shipped here and stuff like that. But that might be a possibility to set up some kind of Joyce wish list.
Yeah, okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Anything else with the principal lead? Vice Chair Chisholm and then Mr. Mulrennan.
Okay, so Mr.
Oh,
Ryan?
and then Dr. Ryan, too.
Okay.
I just wanted,
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a quick comment on Mr. Austin's question regarding
Yes.
to restorative justice. The law 37H and 3/4 requires us to have multiple attempts of restorative for every student prior to suspension, and our building principals are all well-trained and very good at this. So I just didn't want people to think that that isn't something that is done. It is. We follow the law very carefully with that, and I just wanted to make that point.
Is there a way to get what actions or what is done as far as restorative justice is?
So I think it varies based on the situation, and we have to honor the privacy of the students, but it is something that we're very cautious of because it is in fact.
No, I understand the privacy, but I'm just curious without disclosing. Where I work, it's all about not disclosing and being confidential. So I understand that totally, but I'm just curious what measures or what are you doing? I would love to see that without any kids' names, without any kids' information. Just we are doing this. This is the curriculum. This is the practice. I would love to see that.
Sure, that's something that I would be happy to talk with you about.
Okay, excellent.
And we could work through that, but it is something that we do as a practice in all of our buildings.
All right, excellent.
Our goal is to keep the students in school. I mean, that's our number one priority. Anything we can do to keep them in school, we do that.
Yeah, no, see, I work with high-risk individuals that are incarcerated coming out of jail. So looking for ways to not just keep them in, but actually deal with the situation, which I'm really curious of how you guys are handling that, especially with young people that are impressionable and very impulsive. From what I understand, that oftentimes there aren't conversations between the two parties. As you mentioned, keeping them separate, keeping their schedule separate. Honestly, I can't say whether that's beneficial. I think sometimes allowing the parties to have the conversation, letting the victim, letting the aggressor know how the victim has been affected and how the ripple effect. If one kid is being disrespectful, another kid is observing this, and now they're afraid. So there's a ripple effect. And are we having that conversation? Are we bringing parties together? Are we bringing parents together? So a lot of times, I don't know if parents are aware. I can't say for you guys, but again, I didn't know unless I talked to my kid. I didn't get a call. My child came home to tell me. And so I'm just curious because I'm really concerned about, especially what's been in the news and what we've been dealing with, is how are we dealing with issues in our schools, and how are we maintaining, how are we being proactive and not just reactive? That's what I'm really kind of getting at. So thank you guys, and thank you, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Vice Chair Chisholm. So, Mr. Byington, you're 15 years here, but how many years totally have you been an educator?
Well, 15 at Joyce, and then 4 prior to that.
Yeah.
So this is 20 in the city.
There you go.
And then 3 prior to that, so call it 23.
There you go. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you've had a lot more years going into the teaching part of it and coming over. And now we're on.
Yeah, she just wants to make you sound older.
Yeah, you and Andrew. No. Get out your calculators and figure out how old Mr. Byington is. I'm like, oh my God.
No, I was born in the 70s.
So with the cell phone, you're finding kids wearing these instead?
We have seen very few.
Okay.
Very, very few.
All right, so we'll edit this part of this meeting so that won't happen.
Yes, thank you for giving them the idea.
But I do want to tell you that Market Basket isn't on your gift card list, so we could drop off Shaw's or Stop and Shop. Which one would you prefer? Which is closest to you?
What do you mean not on our?
On the gift cards that we buy do at Christmas time.
Oh, that you guys buy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd have to do either Shaw's or Stop and Shop. That's the way I can
Doesn't
help
make
you.
a difference. Yeah. Whatever is convenient, we'll take either one.
All right, there you go. And I just want to say shout out for the sweatshirts were awesome. The kids
great.
loved them. And I think the first day when it was 80 degrees, they wanted to wear them. So it's they wanted to be the first ones in there doing it. Thanks to Nana.
They were wearing them when it's 0 and all the sweatshirts seem to be the big thing,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, but she does a great job. So shout out to Katie. She did a great job. I do have, their bus is a little crowded, that you told me that, so I told her to give it a little bit of time to work out the kinks and see who drops off and who adds on, but they are complaining about the bus being a little crowded.
So we have been working with Kerry Carpenter, getting numbers from the bus drivers of who's in the afternoon. The problem we're running into is, where it's middle school, they like to go to friends' houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to tell them you can't go over your friend's house or stuff like that. So we will have 30, 35 on a bus, and then one day you have 40 or 45 because someone's having a party over their house, or if it gets warm, they're having a pool party over their house, and there's 10 other students going over there. So that's the part. But I've been working with Kerry Carpenter to try changing a few stops, and we have shifted some kids already onto different buses to try making it a little more even.
Yeah, they said the morning was more crowded than in the afternoon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Normally the morning is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent. The afternoon, the bus drivers are reporting is when it really shifts.
I told them that little, just shove over, you'll be fine. But that's great. It sounds like you're off to a good start, and congratulations to both
Thank
you and
you.
your new roles. Thank you, Vice Chair Chisholm. Anyone else? Mr. Mulrennan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Joyce. Quickly, I'm just wondering, how many students are taking advantage of the breakfast in the morning and the snacks after school program?
So the breakfast has been around 80 or so per day. Typically, it picks up a little bit when it gets cold out. But, yeah, so I was speaking with Drew Varoutsis, who monitors it this morning, and he said today they had about 80.
Okay. And my other point, it's just, I know the building itself looks wonderful as always. You know, the custodial staff does a wonderful job, as they do in all of our buildings. I just want to comment on the gymnasium paint job over there. It looks wonderful. And the lighting at the gym, the field house, whatever you want to call it, it looks fantastic. Long overdue, but it's done, and it looks great. So I want to make sure that those people get recognized. And paint job, the gun, and breakfast. I'm all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great year.
Thank you.
I think that we've exhausted all of the questions at this point. I'm just really impressed by what you've accomplished thus far, doing the STAR data and doing the first sweep of data for all of the learners. That's amazing. Opening up the support for the students. I mean, I think you've accomplished a lot. If you look back for the last 3 weeks, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal what you've accomplished. So I'm very optimistic, and I think we have a great leadership team. This is just great.
As Mr. Bynum says, not just us, there's a whole staff behind us. There's administration helping us also. So we don't mind taking the credit, but there's a lot of other hands involved.
And as of 6:50, Mr. Byington did the student activities. Yes. I mean, this is just...
He had a Friday deadline, so, yeah.
But just from sitting here, there's been so much substantial amount of work done so far, so this is just fantastic. Congratulations to you both, and
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, safe school year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
If you want to stay, you may.
I can listen to Mr. Quayle.
Yeah, of course.
You heckle him?
All right, so now we're shifting to an introduction of the high school.
We should always do that. That makes so much more sense. I have them next door. I don't know why I never thought of that.
Oh, it's good for Squealy.
That's really good.
Well, I guess I gotta do everything around.
Just leave it at the top.
That was
That's how it
really
goes.
smart.
Now, somehow you have to do better than
Look
Kate
at that. We've been
Castaldi.
wasting so much time.
Tom, you just changed my life.
I have them next door.
I was in
You
middle
can
school
have
with Joyce. Every time there was a beep, I had to turn the slide. I'm dating myself a little bit. Alright, first, we're very thankful to be here. I was going to give you guys a lot of compliments, but the people already did that earlier. I'm used to always seeing those.
It's a good thing.
It's good to see people come out and say good things, because you guys do a lot of great work, and a lot of times, people that want to praise you don't exactly come, but people who want to go after you, they come. So, but once again, great job by everyone. Once again, you all know who I am. I'm very excited as a class of 1987 at Woburn High to be principal of Woburn High School and bring the high school back to respectability. That's my number one goal. Kareem Rulak, the new associate principal, he's going to talk a little bit more about himself. You guys already know enough about me. So Kareem started probably mid-August, and he's been doing a very good job so far.
Thank you so much, Tom. My name is Kareem Rulak. It's spelled K-H-A-R-I, pronounced Karee like Marie. Been doing that little riddle since elementary school. But I'm excited to be here in Woburn. I spent the last 5 years in Newton North as the Dean of Students, working, getting some good experience around instructional learning and, behavior management. I come from an athletic background. I spent 20 years as an athletic director, both on the high school and the collegiate level, where I spent a lot of time building relationships. And so all of those skills are useful in this role as associate principal. Much of my responsibility as associate principal are, working with staff and building relationships with staff and making sure that they are seen and heard. Feel valued, and that everyone's rowing in the same direction. I heard that from maybe a little bit earlier. But also to be working with the instructional leadership team and helping the district find some alignment and just make sure the teachers understand what the expectations are and that kind of thing. And so far, so good. We've had couple ILT meetings so far, and they've gone really well. I'm working with Kathy Boge to co-lead the ILT team at the high school. I'm also meeting with DHs independently so that I'm able to hear some of their concerns and what's going on in the hallways and the classrooms, and that's been valuable information to be able to bring to Tom and to the rest of the school. And generally, people have been really warm and welcoming since I've been there. I've been really happy to walk in the hallways and pop into classrooms, and people have been warm and welcoming me into classrooms. But generally, very excited to be here. And I started in August, like Tom said, so I had an opportunity to hit the ground running as soon as school started. And we're looking forward to having a great year.
Great.
All right, now this part isn't on the slideshow, but the school year in general, I could have been happier with the opening. The staff and students have been very responsive and helpful, setting expectations for the students, and they, for the most part, they are all accepting them. Kids want rules, they want to be told what to do, and when you don't hold kids accountable or have expectations for them, they're going to do whatever they want. So the kids have been very, very responsive, and the staff has been great, and I couldn't be happier with the start of the year. I do miss the Joyce a little bit, the staff, but you got a job to get done here at Woburn Memorial High School. All right, let's see if this works. So this so this is you have the staff feedback in front of you. I'm not going to read them all for you, but these are direct quotes from the staff. The biggest things I hear is, one, they're saying the hallways, there are a lot less wanderers moving around, there's a lot less kids in the hallway, and they're in the classroom learning where they belong. Another big thing is they say the kids are being more respectful, especially with the phones. The phones haven't been an issue like they have been in the past. We've kind of had the regular policy that we've had, and it's just we have expectations for the kids, and they know that if it's out and if the teacher asks them to leave it on the desk and they don't, then there are going to be consequences for that. So those are the two biggest things I hear. The staff feels really positive. One person said, I usually get the Sunday scaries when I have to go back to work on Mondays, and I'm excited to go back to work. And it's been a very good experience, and the staff has been very, very supportive. All right, so I got some parent feedback. I did the survey. It went out. The numbers might be a little different because this is a live update. This updated at like 4 o'clock. The parents are pretty close. There was only one more additional person, so the numbers are pretty accurate. But the children's overall experience at the start of the school year, 89% says it was good or excellent. We have some fair, and then we had a few poors in there, but we have some satisfied customers there. The parents, it's funny, the parents, you'll see, they had some of the same questions. They actually feel more positive about their kids' experience than the kids do. But anyway, so that's what they're liking. The communication, 90% says it was either clear or very clear and helpful. I try to get the newsletter around every 2 weeks. I send out reminds, and the more informed they are, the better. Somebody says they didn't hear something, they either didn't read the email or the newsletter. The next one was addressing concerns. The blue is they didn't have a concern. So the numbers that are showing, if you actually double them, that's the percentage. So over 50% of the kids said we always responded or addressed in a timely manner. About 32% said sometimes, and there's probably about 8% that said some rarely. One of the things I didn't put on here, like my expectation for staff is 24 to 48 hour response time. So some parents may, I'm not saying this happened, but they may have expected a response that day, and it's not always possible, especially in guidance where they're getting inundated with questions and so forth. So, how would you rate your child's transition back to school? 85% said it went smooth or very smooth. With some somewhat challenging and very challenging. Some of the challenging ones seem to come from freshmen getting used to the new school and so forth. My child feels safe at school. I'd like to get this a little bit better, but over 90% feel that most of the time or all the time they're safe at school. There's 10% there. When we do the survey at the end of the year, I'd like to see those numbers improve, but for the most part, the kids are feeling good. My child's having a positive start to the school year. Less than 10% said had a negative response to that. There was some with a neutral response, but there's close to 80% that agree or strongly agree. And that's actually about 5% who disagreed or strongly disagreed. So the parents seem to be happy. They think the kids have a pretty good experience. This feedback, once again, I'm not going to read it all, you know, but yeah. So I got a lot of comments about the teachers and how well they're doing and how they're helpful to the students, which was very good to hear. They deserve a lot of credit for all they do. Last year when I took over, I told the teachers a lot of good stuff happens at the high school. Fortunately, the 5% of the bad stuff that happens is what gets on the news or gets complaints in school meetings or whatever. And a lot of times I let them know that the 95% of good stuff that they do, I notice, and not everyone always notices, but the staff does a great job. So the parents, they like the back to school night. They appreciate some of the emails and the communication. Multiple comments about the kids loving the teachers. The challenges, these are exact cut and paste quotes from the parents. One of the biggest challenge that they've experienced is the bathrooms. And with the bathrooms, we have more open this year. There's a bathroom open on every single floor, every single period. Sometimes there's two. We have the schedules on every single door, so if they go to a bathroom door, if they go to E4 and it's closed, it'll say D4 is open. Sometimes if a teacher's sick and we don't have coverage for it, it may not be, but for the most part, it's advertised with it, ready to go. And Caitlin alluded to this. I was talking to her. I said, we may open a couple more unsupervised and kind of see how it goes, and it's up to the kids on whether or not they'll be able to stay open. Student side, we had a lot of good experience with the opening and some excellent, these numbers are fairly updated. All right. So, 57, I'm trying to do math in my head. About 70% was good or excellent, 18% fair, and probably another 9% poor. The transition back to school, same thing. A lot of it was smooth and very smooth. 28% said somewhat challenging. Feeling safe at school. This is kind of very similar to the parents. 90% feel safe all the time or most of the time. And having a positive start to the school year. There's a lot of neutral. There's less than 10% that disagree or strongly disagree. And this one was a different one. I was very pleased with this. Over 90% of the kids have one trusted adult that they can go to if they have a need. I stress to the kids in the meetings that all of our doors are always open if there's ever an issue. The 10%, that's 120 kids average we got to get to find a kid. So I'll be sharing all this information with the staff at our meeting next week, and I'm going to encourage them to reach out to kids and make sure that they know that they're available to go to at any time. This is some of the student feedback. Some of the kids mentioned sports, meeting new friends, teachers have been really nice, academics and adjustment to the new school. I think one of the Joyce kids put the principals awesome. I didn't put that out there. But a big thing is a lot of kids reach and meet new friends and so forth. And same as their parents.
You're off by one.
I'm off by one. Oops. All right, here we go. They had bathroom concerns as well with some of the challenges. The work amount in my AP classes is a challenge, but they wrote that was expected. There's so much more homework than 8th grade, traffic in the hallways, finding my way around the school, a lot of typical, the beginning of the things, the other things. But there were comments about the bathroom, which we... All right, so our goals for this year, and these will be, our school improvement goals will be similar to these, but we want to improve student attendance by strengthening family communication, implementing targeted interventions for students, chronic absenteeism, and celebrating positive attendance milestones. Our attendance rate last year, I think, was 90.7, which is really low. That's a lot of absences. Middle schools and the elementary schools are up over 95%. So one of our goals is we have SST meetings every other week, and we're really going to target attendance and so forth. Kareem's in charge of the second goal.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about alignment when I opened with my bio, I guess, or brief bio. But the way to get alignment is these things here, making sure that we have common planning time, making sure that our assessments are aligned, make sure that we're meeting regularly, and make sure there's a calendar and everyone knows when. So all of these things come together to make sure that we have the alignment, and certainly the IoT is a major part of that. And I'm excited to work with that group. And like I said, they've been open and willing to do the work. We've met twice, and I'm looking forward to successful meetings.
And with the common planning time, we helped it a lot. They only meet once every 2 weeks, but the way I set up the schedule, they can meet every day if they want. I set it up so like English 9 teachers, there's no English 9 teachers second period. They're all free. They all have a prep period, so they can meet if needed. So they can meet more than the official time. And we did the same with like world history. And anyone who taught like subjects, they do not teach at the same time, so that they can meet every day if they want to. And the last goal is we want to foster a school-wide culture of respect by implementing clear expectations, modeling positive behaviors, integrating respect into advisory and classroom practices, and recognizing students and staff who demonstrate respect in daily interactions. I tell the kids respect is the #1 thing. You're going to need it your whole life. I tell them respect. They don't have to be friends with every single person in the class, but they have to be respectful. And so far, the kids are doing very well. We have a respect sign in every single classroom and in all throughout the building that we've added this year. So far, I'm very proud of the kids. They're doing a great job. All right, no questions? Let's go.
Well, let me just see if the committee agrees.
Let's see what we got.
I'll open it up to the committee for questions for the leadership team at the high school. Mr. Austin.
Thank you. Great to see you guys both. Principal Corley, I've been a fan of yours, and I'll start by saying this. Many years ago, when we had a situation at the middle school, again, dealing with my children, dealing with issues of race, you actually was prompt in handling the situation. You even took my number and gave it to the parents so we can have a dialogue. My child, him, his child. And I've always appreciated that. I feel like dealing with the situation head on has always been respected to me, and I appreciate that. Even last week, you and I had a conversation. I feel like we're like-minded on a lot of things, so I appreciate you, again, being willing to step up. Principal Rulak, I don't know you well, but you came in and said hello. I appreciate that. Much respect to you. I hope in the future we get a chance to talk, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are planning to do in the future. I was actually curious in the slide. It mentioned a few times with students, with parents, poor, and so I'm curious to know what is being done. As far as says, do not feel safe. Like, what is being done about that? Do you know who the students are? Do you what is
do
the
not
process?
know who the students are. I wanted to get honest opinions, so I did it as an anonymous thing. I would like to know, but it's just getting out in the hallways and just reassuring kids like the school's a lot safer than they think it is. We're increasing security. We've got a bunch of cameras being replaced. We are adding cameras to areas we don't have. And I'm saying the teachers, they're more positive this year. They're in the hallways a lot more than they were last year.
Right.
So there's a lot more presence in the building.
Okay.
I have also told kids that in the email I sent them before they did the survey, anytime there's an issue or they're worried about something, my door is always open. Because I mentioned I have a drop-in once a month, but they don't have to wait for that drop-in if they need to come see me. I get some kids coming in because they want to granola bar. And other kids just walking by and just saying hi. I want to be accessible to the kids, and I want them to know that the school is, there are a lot of people there to help them.
Right.
I'll add to that, Mr. Austin, that things like honesty, things like transparency, when I'm speaking with parents and I'm sharing with them what to expect next, those things keep families safe and children safe. And when the parent can go home and communicate to the child, this is what you should expect when you go to school tomorrow, I think keeps kids safe.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's it for questions as of now.
All right, Mr.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Wetzel?
Hi, I just want to say welcome, Mr. Rulek. Excited to have you. I really liked your bio and everything you had to say. Super easy question, but what's your favorite sport since you...
Hoops, easy. I'm a big Celtics fan. I'm an athletic director, and so I like to think I can play everything. But basketball will be number one, football close second.
Excellent. So welcome to Woburn. We're really excited to have you here, and we spoke a little bit before the meeting. So I did have a couple questions based on the information here. One, I think it's great that we did the surveys, and similar to Mr. Austin, I'd be curious if we could find more information out about the parents and the students that had less poor, et cetera, answers to those questions. And I know it's anonymous, which I think it makes sense so people are honest, but I'm wondering if you have plans to do like a mid-year survey or something to kind of gather more information and see how things are settling in.
Yeah, I was thinking more springish, but I mean, I'd be open to doing it earlier.
Whatever you think is best,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I am thinking about taking some of the concerns and doing like frequently asked questions and kind of responding to them. I can't guarantee that everyone's going to read it when I send it out, but hopefully the person who wrote it and has those concerns reads it and sees what we're doing or what's available.
I think it's, I agree, and I think, like you said, too, more presence in the hallways, I feel like will make students feel more comfortable, and then the more comfortable they feel, like they'll go home, tell their parents, and it's sort of a big circle of comfort. And I did have another question, too. If parents haven't completed the survey, or students haven't completed the survey, where would they find the survey, and how long will it be
I'll
open?
email them. I'll probably send out one more reminder, and I'll probably close it next week when I do my presentation with the staff. Somebody did post something on social media about telling high school parents that to check their remind and respond to and give feedback.
Perfect. And any parent listening here or student can do that as well. And then my last thought, I love that we have our student representative, but I think it would be helpful to have, and this is just sort of an idea, more student voices on the committee. I think that the students have so much to offer, and they're really an insight into our schools. So I don't know if that's something that we can talk more about, but I do think, in addition to our rep, like what else can we do?
So there's going to be a couple of reps. There's going to be, they've started adding a junior class rep, so Caitlin was a junior class rep last year, so she's kind of moved up. She is running again. I don't know if she's opposed or not, and then there'll be some juniors. And we could try to bring student groups in as well. I know Dr. Crowley's going to have meetings with our class officers once a month to check in with them as well.
That sounds great. Yeah, I think just the more we hear from them, the better. And I appreciate all your leadership at the school, so thank you both.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Vice Chair Chisholm?
I think it's kind of funny in a way, because tonight we talked about transparency and getting communications out. And one of the things that a parent wrote that she thought had gone well was the emails and the text messages. And then on the next page, they complained too many emails and too many text messages.
Well, see, what we find out what happens is if they sign up for certain Google Classrooms, like everything a teacher posts, they get an email and a text.
Oh, okay.
I try not to send too much, because then they won't read them.
Right, because that's what's like.
Miss Ryan sends them all the time, so I only read them.
And I just thought it was nice that there was a lot of positive about sports. And I just wanted us all to remember that when the budget time comes, so that we don't have to have someone not be able to participate should they want to. So I just think that's great. But I think that this is awesome. I thought this was very informative.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr.
I was
Mulrennan?
going to get away with all his questions.
Come on, Corey. I just more of a comment to you gentlemen. Obviously, you know, the school committee members and Dr. Crowley and the mayor walked through the high school recently, and I will say that, you know, on the opportunity I had a chance to speak to a couple of the staff members, Mr. Quayle, you're right. The staff are energized, the staff are enthusiastic, the staff are very impressed with what you're doing, both the associate principal as well as your assistant principals and all the levels across the board. You know, just going through the walkthrough there last Friday. And again, you talked about it, Tommy, it's just the kids weren't on their phones, they weren't wearing their hoodies, so they've already established, you know, as Ms. Crowley was saying, a couple of weeks in, it's already set up. And you had to hear respect. And I think that, you know, you opened up, Mr. Quayle, tonight with these students, young adults, are going to need that respect for the rest of their lives. And you're right, you don't earn that respect. You don't have to respect everyone, but you have to at least give them the opportunity. I think you're doing a hell of a job up there. Keep up the great work. Both of you guys make a great team. I think you've fixed a mistake that we had up there for a while. It's going in the right direction with, you know, the right people in the right spots. And I look forward to, you know, more surveys and, you know, changing those numbers up. There it is right there. A school culture of respect, implementing those clear expectations. I want to congratulate you on that and continue those efforts throughout the school year, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan. Anyone else? Thank you so much for coming, gentlemen. I just wanted to comment briefly that I think your goals are fantastic. I think we need to get students back into the building. Obviously, I think they're measurable, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the success. I think you should be very proud of yourself that 90% of the students feel they have someone that they can speak to at this early point in the year.
I was a little worried about that question.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm very pleased with that.
But that, as you know, it could be the basis of a huge safety issue, that students feel they can go to an adult. That could be life-saving. So you should feel so proud of yourself. I see a huge transformation in the high school. So
It's a team effort with the staff and the administrators and paraprofessionals, cafeteria, everyone. Everyone's all on the same page. We're all going in the same direction.
you have such an important role in our community, to this committee, and I just I think you're going to have a wonderful school year. We look.
So far, so good.
So, that being said, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you for the clicker.
Yeah, I need
How about that, huh?
They're only about $39.99.
Do we have that kind of thing on the budget? $39.99, that's...
If I'm doing observations, I'll walk around and teachers walks over to the desk. I'll put in there and I'll give them one of these things. I have them in my office.
No, I use them.
Yeah.
Because it saves, they can stand in the back of the room and
We bought
work
them
really.
for the math program. I have I have a pile of them, I had to go for them.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta start to do something.
I can't believe that
All right, we're going to continue on with the agenda. Okay, so Mr. Austin communicated to the committee that he would like to look at some revisions of two policies, policy KA and AC. They did run through our policy subcommittee, but Mr. Austin, he had, as we know, last year he had some disagreements with the subcommittee, so I said, well, why don't we just bring them to the full committee for consideration? So that being said, the draft policies are in your folder, and Mr. Austin has a summary of the changes that he would like to make. And again, it's by name, it's KA, School Community Relations Goals, and AC, Non-Discrimination and Harassment. I'm just going to say one more thing, that the school committee does a first reading of policies, then we put them on the table, then we pick them up at the next meeting after that to give the community ample time to review any policy. That's the normal protocol in which we enact policies. Unless a committee member moves to suspend the rules, that's how we will do it. So Mr. Austin will present his policy changes to the committee. The committee can ask clarifying questions, and then we will deliberate on those policies in the next meeting. Do I have that right, Ms. Cormier?
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Deliberate and then vote at the following meeting.
Lay on the table, deliberate, and then vote. Okay. And I've talked way too much. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Austin for his presentation.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course.
I don't know if it's necessary to speak on the initial policy that I was looking to implement, and I guess I can. The initial policy I'll talk about is KA and KCB. KCB is a community involvement in decision-making, and KA, which is the current policy of the school committee, which is school committee relation goals. Let's see. As a current policy of the school committee, it speaks about the school committee believes that the public school belongs to the people who created them by consent and support them by taxation. It continues and it talks about what the school committee declares to keep local citizens regularly and thoroughly informed through all channels of communication on policy programs, problems, and planning. And it talks about to solicit study council, the people through the advisory committee selected in the community and appointed to consider problems and vitally affect the future of our students. And so the primary difference, and I'll go into this, I guess I'll speak on with what the lawyer, Mr. Joyce, had mentioned really briefly. He mentioned that KCB, this provision is unnecessary because policy KA already addresses community involvement in the decision-making. There is nothing in the committee's existence policy that limits or discourages public participation in the decision-making. And so the committee, if you will see the changes that I have, the sheet that I given you, and it says the proposed revision of policy KA reflects the school committee's ongoing commitment to fostering strong transparency, communication, and meaningful community participation. The updated language is intended to broaden opportunities for citizen engagement, to clarify the role of advisory committees, and to affirm the committee's responsibility in decision-making. So I actually worked with a policy coach through an organization I did a fellowship with, which is School Board Partners, and I let him know, I gave him the videos to him to watch and actually hear what was spoken on as far as Mr. Joyce, and really consider his concerns and also the concerns of the members, and make it clear where it's not overlapping, and as Ms. Chisholm stated, that our hands aren't tied. And so those are, I felt, were important matters to consider. So the key changes, as stated here, is it improved clarity in communication, adjusted wording to reinforce joint responsibility of both the committee and superintendent in keeping the public informed. The encouragement of citizens' input, added language inviting all community members to share ideas, concerns, and questions directly with administration, advisory bodies, and the committee. And these are parts that were different. If you guys can look into the area where it talked about KA, where you'll see in red, well actually, since you guys are looking at the black and white paper, it should be underlined. Underlined are the policy that I'm looking to incorporate, and the non-underlined is the current policy. So if you look there, you'll see a lot of the wording from the previous policy is still here. The current policy, I should say, it's still here. Some areas was cleaned up a little bit, and you can see what was added. And I'll continue as far as what was different. Expanded roles for advisory committees. Clarify that residents with relevant experience, training, or personal qualities will be encouraged to serve, broadening the diversity and expertise represented. Decision-making transparency. Added a statement explaining that while advice from the committee and citizens will be given careful consideration, The committee and staff retain responsibility for exercising their best judgment in the final decision. So that's a concern that Ms. Chisholm was mentioning. So a final judgment still rests on the school committee and the staff. Why these changes matter? I can read what's here, but ultimately, I feel we're not just elected to make all the decisions on our own. Yes, we do make the big decisions, but I firmly believe in community voice. And this gives the community a voice. This gives additional voice. It actually gives how the community can get involved, not just letting us know they have a voice for certain times, like redistricting, but it's more of it's almost like put a ring on it, making it official. And so this policy is more inclusive, working with broader community voices, increases transparency, keep mentioning that, and decision making. Strengthening advisory committees by encouraging qualified and engaged residents to participate. So it's almost offering and saying, if you have these skill sets, if you're interested, join us, which was the language that wasn't here prior. And so these updates will, I feel, it be more inclusive of the community, allowing their voice to be more of a part of what we ultimately decide. And we have seen that as a tremendous benefit to our committee over the last previous school year, when we decided at one point to go down from a list of 7 to 5 votes when it was time to redistrict, I believe in March of the previous school year, and we paused and we invited the community. The community felt that we was moving too fast, and the more we invited, the more we had community input. The last thing we heard was, I felt that we're being listened to. And I think it's really important to listen to our community members. There are a lot of wise people out there, and they have a lot of value to input, I believe, and this is why I'm looking to bring this policy forward. Thank you.
Okay. So that is present. We'll just do them one by one, Mr. Roth, if that's okay.
Sure.
So that's policy number 1. Do I have a motion to place this policy with these amendments on the table by the committee?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion on the procedure aspect of placing this policy on the table? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. So just kind of create some clarity here. Policy as presented by Mr. Austin, labeled KA, School Community Relations Goals, is on the table, and the committee will deliberate at next meeting and vote on it the following meeting.
Madam Chair, could I just also
Yes,
ask, I think on this particular policy, I would also just like to hear administration viewpoint on especially the final paragraph regarding particular attention to advisory, to input from the community. I just want to make sure that we understand that, yes, we are hearing from the community, we are listening to advice, we are listening to advisory committees, but there may be very good reasons why administration or why the committee has to go in a different direction from the advice that it received. And I just want to make sure that the language is amenable in that regard. I mean, I think my view of the policy is I think, a good step forward in many respects. I just want to make sure that we are not sort of binding ourselves and that administration doesn't feel that we are binding ourselves on that. So that just sort of, in terms of thinking towards deliberation next time, I think that would be a useful piece of information to have as we talk.
Okay.
I mean, we vote on policies, but it has to be the administration that implements them. So we should make sure that they're implementable. Okay, so we will make sure that we have administration's recommendation on that policy. Okay, so that policy is on the table. Mr. Austin, you had another one?
Yes. Give me a second. All right, the second policy I'll propose for changes is AC, which is a non-discrimination and harassment policy. And the policy that I was looking to implement is JICK, which is the harassment of students. And although, again, as far as Mr. Joyce mentioned that because the policy of non-discrimination of students already exists in the form of policy AC adoption, JICK it's unnecessary and redundant. So with that, and mentioning that we don't want that to have two policies and to be confusing for the district, which makes sense. So again, spoke to my policy coach and let him know and let him watch and give him all the detail that he needs, and what he came up with was what I already have sent you guys. And this policy is something that I feel like is really near and dear to me, especially the climate that we're dealing with now. And I'll read summary of proposed changes to AC non-discrimination that you guys see on the key changes. The new policy covers discrimination and harassment against or between staff, students, parents, and the public. It extends the protection to incidents occurring not only on school property, but also district-sponsored events, school buses, and other controlled locations. Homelessness is explicitly included as a protected class within the policy rather than referred separately. Clear definitions added. This is the part that I really wanted to stress. The new policy introduced explicit definitions of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. It also includes sexual harassment. The previous policy does not mention what harassment is, what discrimination is considered, or it does mention, I believe it talks on retaliation in reference to bullying, but as we know, bullying is different than harassment. Bullying is a repeated offense. Harassment is one offense. Also, discrimination is depicted on a particular class. And so harassment may not be discrimination. It can be someone could be harassed in other areas. And so this clarity helps all stakeholders understand what behavior constitutes a violation. Also, stronger reporting and investigation procedures. Compliance officers are tasked with prompt and reliable investigation of all complaints. Grievance procedures are reaffirmed with an emphasis on transparent reporting and accessible complaint filing. The new policy clearly states consequences for violation, which in the past it wasn't. For students, disciplinary, restorative, or corrective actions appropriate to the behavior. For employees, disciplinary measures up to and including termination. This creates stronger accountability and enforces a safe environment for all. On the backside, it just talks about why these changes are needed. I saw 2 days ago the Attorney General, I guess the district sent something out regarding the emphasis on protection in our schools. And so even with that, to bringing forward this policy to me puts a stamp on us giving more protection, added protection for our students. We've heard a young person come before us speaking about issues that they have received in the school, catcalling from other students and words of sort, which is considered harassment. We also heard on the news. So having this policy gives it added protection, and it actually clearly states examples of what harassment is, and I think it is something that can not only protect our students, but also our staff. And so, and that is me presenting that for you guys.
Okay. Do I have a motion to place AC non-discrimination and harassment with Mr. Austin's suggested amendments on the table?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the procedural motion of placing this policy on the table? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion passes. That policy will be on the table. AC, non-discrimination, harassment, will be voted on in 2 meetings.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Not to add to our legal bills, but we had already gotten a ruling on this from our attorney that we pay for his legal advice. He's not a policymaker, but he's a lawyer. And there's some verbiage in here that I'm very nervous that it's going to tie the hands and describe what someone else thinks may be harassment. And if he could just double check and actually make sure that we're legally making definitions and not just including things that might not be that way. And it makes me nervous when we're addressing parents and everything else in this thing. But we'll discuss it more, but if you could just get these two tonight and the changes that were made. I know that we did this before, so it's double duty for them, but just to update, so make sure we're not going above and beyond what we're supposed to be doing. And after Mr. Quayle gave the presentation tonight about the school and how much better it's being run, and the problems aren't there, and the parents are 95% excited about the school, I just don't want to go above and beyond what we need to do. And I don't want to tie anybody's hands. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Chisholm. I will reach out for more information for the committees.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Of course you can, Mr. Austin.
I really get the 95%. My concern is the 5%. And to not see that as important.
I didn't say it wasn't.
No, I'm not saying you did.
Yep. But that's 5% of people.
One at a time.
Sorry.
Vice Chair Chisholm, you can respond after you're done.
I'm just saying to not see it, not saying you particularly, to not see it as important or to downplay the 5%, because that 5% of students is still being affected in some manner. And so I just wanted to voice that. What was said in this policy was actually taken from JICK, which is actually a policy that is part of the MASC. So it is their policy that they already have. And so I'll mention that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Vice Chair Chisholm, did you want to respond?
No, I'll wait for legal counsel.
Okay. Does anyone else have any clarifying questions for this policy at this point? No? Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Austin, for that presentation.
Sure.
Thank you, committee members. Moving on, we have, excuse me, Dr. Crowley has to be appointed by the school committee to serve on the SEAM Board of Directors, which is our collaborative where we collaborate in terms of special education.
Motion to approve Dr. Crowley to serve on the Board of Directors for the SEAM Collaborative.
Second. Any discussion on that motion?
If we may, Madam Chair, just for briefly have Dr. Crowley explain what SEAM is again, a little bit more elaborate than what we talked about, please. And what your role will be on the Board of Directors.
Well, we collaborate.
Okay, moving on.
No, so it's really,
Don't be a coward.
there are a number of member districts that serve the needs of our out-of-district students, and so one of the things we do is meet monthly. SEAM, the organization's run by Dr. Kathy Lawson. It's over in Stoneham, and we meet, as I said, every month. It's essentially a collaborative where different cities and towns pool resources to defray the cost of out-of-district tuition. And so it's not always feasible for SEAM to accept our out-of-district students based on the needs of our students, but when possible, they do. And so we are very fortunate, actually, to be part of the SEAM Collaborative. It's incredibly well run. Dr. Lawson's been the executive director for many years and is infinitely knowledgeable, does a really nice job. One of the things that we have done over the years is job-alike job shares with SEAM Collaborative, so beyond special education. Our UDL coach is someone we cost share with the SEAM Collaborative. And, as an example, they have a curriculum group that does meet, again, job-alike type special education directors, job-alike. And so it's an opportunity for us in Woburn to partner with other local districts. And so it's paid dividends. In fact, we are going to open up a new high school in Woburn, the SEAM Collaborative. I think I shared that with you. It's being built out. I don't have the address off the top of head. I'll get it to you, but sometime after the new year, because again, one of the things that SEAM faces, that we face, is a space capacity issue, and so they lease buildings from different cities and towns, and oftentimes those cities and towns then need buildings, or the buildings become obsolete, and so space is always an issue. And so it's it's a Cummings property that's being renovated to house the SEAM High School. So that's in a nutshell.
Just clarification with the people at home and those in the audience tonight, just they're not familiar with what SEAM does and why it's important that you're on the Board of Directors. Thank you, Dr. Crowley.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We have a motion.
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Okay, so Dr. Crowley has been appointed to the SEAM Board of Directors. If anyone is interested in the advantages of Woburn being a member of the SEAM Collaborative and the fiscal savings that we see from this collaboration and the high level of services that SEAM provides, they should look into this, because it is truly a remarkable creation in ways in which districts can defray the costs of out-of-district programs and provide the least restrictive environment for our learners that may need these specialized services. So it's a triple win in many aspects. So, anyways, thank you, Dr. Crowley, and thank you, committee members. Moving on to the JFK Washington DC trip. I see that the committee has received a field trip proposal form. Dr. Crowley, will you be presenting this?
Just very briefly, for your consideration, this is the annual JFK Washington DC field trip. It came through September 19th in a timely manner. I just wanted to get it to you, whether you want to vote tonight or consider it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a fundraiser. The kids all do the fundraising, and it's a great trip.
Well, I already have a motion to approve.
They need it to start fundraising.
Yeah.
So I want them to
Second,
go.
it is a fact.
Yeah.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second?
Yes.
Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the field trip proposal form?
Madam Chair, it's not more, it's just, I know on the notes here, they indicated that the students to lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and if anybody, last year's trip, follow them on Instagram, the 4 students from the Woburn Kennedy Memorial School were all dressed alike. When I myself had the honor and the privilege to do this long ago and lay a wreath at the tomb. And I think it's just one of those things that these students will always remember the rest of their lives. And I think last year's trip, I don't know if it's still on Instagram or not, but the teachers kept up Instagram as far as the bus ride and what was for lunch and everything else. But they filmed students of the Kennedy marching down in matching outfits to lay this wreath. And it just gave me chills to watch Woburn kids doing that. And I just, again, it's a great trip. Everything else that they do is wonderful too. But I think, not only watching the changing of the guard, but participate in the wreath laying ceremony and place a wreath from the Kennedy Middle School at the tomb is what's in their notes here. So I think, again, I just look forward to next year's trip for these kids. It's a wonderful opportunity. So thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Mulrennan. Any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, this has been approved. Moving on, I see we have a list of policies, and I think that the best person to go over these policies is, in fact, Ms. Colleen Moore.
Okay, we're done with DA.
So previously tabled on June 25th, we are now ready for discussion on the following policies. DA, fiscal management goals. DB, annual budget. DBC, preparation of the budget document. DBD, budget planning. DBG, budget adoption procedures. DBI, budget implementation. DBJ, budget transfer authority. DD, funding proposals and applications. DDA-R, federal funds. DGA, authorized signatures. DH, bonded employees and officers. DI, fiscal accounting and reporting. DID, inventories. DIE, audits. DJ, purchasing, which includes updated language from MASC. DJA, purchasing authority, again, updated language from MASC. DJB, purchasing procedures. DJDA, state contract purchasing. DJE, bidding requirements with updated language. DJG, vendor relations. DK, payment procedures. And JICFB, bullying policy that replaces what currently is in our manual, which is the intervention plan, which will still be available on the website, but we need the policy in the policy manual, which refers to the intervention plan. So I will make a motion that we put these up for discussion.
All right, I have a motion to put these up for discussion.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion for discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We can now discuss these these policies. Wrong job. Anyone have any questions? I mean, we read these, policy reviewed these, policy recommended that we adopt these. These are updates to MASC when they come up with updates. So
They
we're not
recommend-
drastically changing anything for the public's information.
They recommend you check it out, so Mr. Dizio and Ms. McKinnon and I sat and reviewed them, and just making sure everything is dotted and crossed.
Thank you, Ms. Cormier. I know that the bullying policy added retaliation. That's the big change to the bullying policy. And so, anyways. Any discussion on adopting these policies? I mean, do I have a motion to adopt these policies? Or we already do that?
We already voted to discuss them,
Yeah.
and we are discussing them. And then
Yes.
I think we just move on until next meeting when
Next
we
meeting.
vote on them.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Cormier. So this is the deliberation meeting?
Yes. Yes.
So next meeting, we will adopt these policies.
Correct.
And they'll be publicly available as going to be adopted status. Ms. Wetzel?
Sorry, just a quick question
course.
clarification for the community to Ms. Cormier. If the community wanted to find these policies listed on our agenda or any of our policies, where's the best place for them to look?
Refresh that. There's a folder now. On the WoburnPS.com, under our, there it is, under our website, under District School Committee, there is a link to school committee documents, which has all of our agendas and, it has all of the supporting documents, including a folder that is in there with all of these policies in it for reference.
Thank you, Ms. Cormier. Thank you, Ms. Wetzel, for asking that. Ms. Mulren?
Thank you, if it could, Ms. Cormier, also, again, a lot of these are adopted and presented by the MASC. If you want to go over the procedures as far as some of those are recorded back to us for the public that's not aware of how it gets to us.
Do you mean because they send us the policy newsletter?
There you go, yeah, something like
They sent the
that.
policy newsletter suggesting that Section D, the sort of fiscal policies, be reviewed. So that's what brought this up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair, if I could
Yes,
just
Mr.
quickly
Lipset.
just recognize Ms. McLeod for her work in getting the link to the school committee folder
Yes.
up on the website. I really
Yep.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'll also recognize Mr. Lipset, who initiated this whole thing in the first place, so thank you.
Yes.
Mostly Ms. McLeod.
That is
Which
just-
obviously wasn't his
Success today.
That's what
You were there. Yeah.
But thank you, Ms. McLeod, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it very
Awesome.
much so.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, anything else in this course? Okay. Moving on to subcommittee reports, Vice Chair Chisholm, Finance and Personnel.
Yes, we met on September 18th at 3:30 here at the Joyce Middle School. In attendance was Superintendent Matt Crowley, Director of Finance Alex Dizio, Assistant Director Patty McKinnon, it's school committee, not AC. School committee members Michael Mulrennan, myself, and Andrew Lipset by phone. He was doing dad duty. So under finance, our packets were received and reviewed. Questions were submitted to the business office. Replies were sent and found to be in order. So we have warrant 1 for $692,408.74, warrant 2 for $2,093,556.94, warrant 3 for $253,517.41, warrant 4 was for $394,508.82, and warrant 5 was for $660,955.09. Make a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Any discussion on paying our bills?
I'm against it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and the balance of account also approved.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion on the approving the balance of accounts? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay, and on the items that we discussed on the balance of account, our legal balance, which we're going to be watching pretty closely, and questions were asked about the car charging station at the Harold Wyman, and where do the fees go? I don't know, we're going to get some answers on that. And the WUSTAT meeting was held that day. Superintendent Crowley had attended that meeting. In Open Architects, this will sync to our Munis system and allow us to track in real time our expenditures. And this will be a school-based, and Superintendent Crowley and school admin will have access to this, and the cost is about $25,000. Do you want an update on that, or?
It's in process. We're just working with the city so that essentially what will happen is the Open Architects is a software program that will sync with our line items with Munis, and so as money gets spent, you can really it's data visualization really is what it is. And so we're working with the city to provide access through Munis so that we can do that.
Okay, great. Then the train offer is still on the waiting stage. The city is looking to another company. The Shamrock roof is on schedule. There were 10 contractors on site, 9/17, which was a half a day, so they were allowed to be on the roof, and kids weren't there. The Malcolm White Playground is on schedule also, hoping for a great fall to get as much completed as possible. And 2 buses were added, one to the Linscott and one to the Goodyear, and the cost will be about $80,000 for that. And on personnel updates, the superintendent updated us on the summer hiring. All teaching positions have fully staffed. SPED has some positions that we are actively pursuing. These are additional hires. We don't have people that are not getting services. And some services we are going to contract it out, but some of these positions are tough to fill. I don't know if, do you have any update on any hiring or anything on that, or is that pretty accurate?
We talked about this actually at our subcommittee earlier.
Okay.
That we are in pretty good shape. We are still looking for an additional SLP and a clinical psychologist, and we have a few paraprofessional positions.
Okay, all right. And we are not alone with these communities having difficulties filling some of the high needs positions. Superintendent updated us on the hiring protocol. He has a 20-page hiring manual that is provided to admin staff who is directly involved with hiring our new staff. Hiring is done through Talent Ed, then licensure, it must be confirmed. They check social media, hiring committee is formed. There are times when they ask for a model lesson from these applicants and offers are made. Over the summer, superintendent tries to have a meet and greet with all our new staff. All new teachers attended the orientation over the summer, and we were updated that HR Director Tony Wyman attends job fairs to try and attract more diverse staff. He finds at these job fairs we can see more folks that we can fill our paras, lunch staff, and non-licensed positions. We are also part of the Mass Department of Diversity, hoping to attract more candidates. UMass Lowell runs a program with WMHS and hoping to attract more of our students going into the teaching field. We discussed striving to add building subs to all elementary schools. This is my baby, hope to God someday. In our next year's budget, insurance compensation is a high-ticket item, so we're trying to work to see if we could waive some of that and maybe have them work 4 days instead of 5. This would bring a familiar face to all of our buildings every day to help not only with the staff, but also with staff attending meetings, and the superintendent will work with principals for different ideas. And on our little wraparound at the Harold Wyman, we spoke to the mayor about this to put a bug in his ear, and he is on board and thinks he'd support it if we can somehow work it into our budget for next year. So that would be my number one start.
Good to know.
Yep, and the meeting adjourned at 4:20.
Any questions for finance and personnel?
Do we have any subs in the, like, full-time subs in the building now, and how many? Do we know? Are there any, but?
Daily full-time subs, no.
Okay.
We have daily subs that...
Right, but nobody specifically for that building?
Correct. There's certain people that land at certain buildings,
Sure.
but they're not assigned there per se.
And they're not our employee. I mean, they are, but they're...
Not daily.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Vice Chair Chisholm. Something to think about.
Yep, over and over.
Community Relations Subcommittee, Mr. Austin.
Madam Chair, we met today, and I'll have an update for next meeting.
Sure, absolutely. Curriculum and Data Trends, Mr. Lipson.
Same with curriculum and data trends. We met today, and I will update the committee next meeting.
Great. Policy Subcommittee, Ms. Cormier.
We have not met.
Even better. Resources and Capital Subcommittee, Ms. Wetzel.
We have met. We met on the 12th of this month at 11 a.m. here in the conference room. In attendance was Ms. Cormier, Dr. Crowley, Ms. Young, and myself. We had public comment, and if you look at my notes, you'll see a link to the emails that I received for public comment for those that couldn't make it. There was no public, nobody spoke at the meeting, so everyone's correspondence is there. And then the big topic was our busing update. So we acknowledged that communication could be better. There was emphasis on timely communication to families. Dr. Crowley provided an update. He had met with building principals and the admin team to discuss busing and what we can do to help families. And we added a bus at the Goodyear. You heard we've added a bus at the Linscott. We're also looking at middle schools, which we heard a little bit today on some of the crowding issues there, but that's still kind of a work in progress. We talked also about communication to families and what that might look like and how they can communication to families and how this is going to roll out. So the new buses started on that Monday from the 12th, so we met on a Friday. And families received updates through their principals, through their newsletters, and everyone would be notified by either Friday or Saturday, because you have to wait for kids to be off the bus before you can provide updates. And also, due to that, some of our admin staff, our administrative assistants had to work a bit late, and there was some overtime occurred because, again, you had to wait for kids to be off the bus. But the job was done great, and in terms of me speaking with parents, everyone seems very happy, which is really good to hear. Policy came up a little bit with EEAA, which is walkers and riders, and Ms. Cormier is on this subcommittee as well, so it was convenient. And we heard from Ms. Young that our wellness coach will be into the policy subcommittee to discuss that further, which I think is wonderful. And we also recommended just revisiting the busing policy, maybe clearly define hazards, look at distance thresholds and things like that. We haven't determined the next meeting, as we'll be talking more about redistricting, so we need to finalize some of that. We adjourned at 11:25 a.m. And then just, I would be remiss not to mention all the hard work that went into this from our admin here, as well as our building-based admin, to make sure the buses were up to spec for families. And then also a huge thank you to families for advocating for your students and for your schools, and making us quickly aware of a situation. And shout out again to admin for fixing it so quickly. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Appreciate that update. Any questions, resources, and capital planning subcommittee? Okay. Student services and achievement, Ms. Mulrennan, you met today too, right?
We met today as well, Madam Chair. If I just bother Dr. Ryan, just if your hand can be dispersed to all the school members as well. And if you've got an update from Dr. Ryan this evening, which I will present in my minutes for the next meeting. Thank you very much.
That sounds great. Thank you for doing that. Okay, that concludes subcommittee. Correspondence, does anyone have any correspondence?
I have a couple.
Actually don't. Do we?
You didn't send us any, so I don't think you do.
Okay, great. Like to hear
First,
that.
the Friends of the Woburn Public Library book sale happened this weekend and raised lots of money for the Museum Pass program, and had a number of students earning their yes hours, so that was really helpful. I want to mention that the city is holding the youth mental health first aid training in October the 7th and 8th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's offered on their website. You can find information on that. And the third annual Woburn Community Education Foundation Gourmet Gala is being held on November 15th at the Woburn Country Club. So mark your calendars, buy your tickets. As you may be aware, the Community Education Foundation raises money for teacher grants, and more often than not, they are approved. So we like to have plenty of money in the bank there so we can they can pay for everything the teachers are asking for within reason, and we hope to see a lot of faces there.
15th of November?
15, Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And my dad may or may not have been the founding member. Okay. I know he's watching, that's why. Ms. Wetzel.
Yes, so one of the things I'm doing is going around to our PTOs just to, hear from our families and our staff in buildings. And I've visited so far the Alta Vista, the Malcolm White, and the Goodyear, and just a couple things that I've learned so far. The Alta Vista's got a very robust schedule for their fall events, and if you go onto their Facebook page, you can find all of those for any families that are listening. But it was really great just to be there and better understand what's going on in the school. And the Malcolm White, the big talk was the playground, which we heard in public comment already. But I thought something really cool that they're doing too is, I think it's through Teams, but they use software that'll help translate for families. So I think that's really awesome, and it makes it more inclusive. And at the Goodyear, they have already started on enrichment, and they have a ton of fall events going on as well. But it's been a pleasure to be at these PTO meetings and really hearing from families and staff. And the only other thing I had was City Hall is hosting their Trick or Treat again, which will be October 30th at 4. I think is it 5?
No, I think it's early.
I feel like it's 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
We're going to go 4 to 6. It's on their Facebook page.
That's great.
And I'm sure their website.
And their website, yeah.
Is that it you have for correspondence, Ms.
That's
Wetzel?
it. Yes, thank you.
Anything else for correspondence?
Correspondence.
Yeah, of course, Mr.
I
Ross.
received a phone call from a community member in reference to I guess it's called a speed detector that's on the Shamrock Elementary, like near the Shamrock School. This individual said they reached out to the principal, the superintendent, and now she said she's going to call all of us. And I felt I should bring it forward. They said it hasn't been fixed, and it's really important to them, so.
And replaced.
It's fixed.
Yeah,
It's fixed.
Yep.
Well, there it is. Success.
All right.
Maybe not the one she's speaking of, but the school zone one has been replaced.
Ms. Wetzel?
I was going to say it is fixed. I spoke with Council Papalato because it's in his district,
Nice.
and it was fixed, and there was some pictures taken of it, and people seemed very happy. So yeah, it was.
The school committee shall take credit for that.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Fixing.
Taking care of business.
Okay.
Good job.
Anything else for correspondence? No. Okay, so for future.
Madam Chair, if I could just.
Of course, Ms. Mulrennan.
It was mentioned a little bit tonight, the back-to-school nights at all the schools were very, very well attended and very successful. I think, again, getting back to anybody have any questions, they can email that principal in the building if they hadn't gone back to the back-to-school nights. But I think a lot of the principals, elementary anyway, just kind of gave the new parents a tour of their building, especially the redistricting situation. There are a lot of new families coming in, so they got a feel and an understanding of their building. So I want to give a shout out to all the principals and admin that took care of those back-to-school nights. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Mulrennan. Dr. Crowley, did you want to elaborate?
Well, just to echo what Mr. Moran said, but announce that we're going to do Woburn Public Schools back-to-school night on October 16th at 6 p.m. at the high school. And so just not a school-specific, but a district-wide back-to-school night. So an overview of all the components that make up the Woburn Public Schools. So that's on the 16th at 6 p.m.
Where?
At the high school.
Another correspondence from Dr. Crowley mentioned
Go ahead, Mr. Olson.
a job fair for students, November 15th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Should I not have mentioned it?
No, that's fine.
Okay, because you didn't mention it. So, I just wanted to mention that. I think it's
More
awesome.
mentioning, the better.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's
So,
great.
job fair.
Anyone else have any correspondence or announcements they want to? No? Okay. If you think of one, just flag it down. So future agenda items. Next meeting, we have the mayor is coming to talk to us about the fire station plans with regards to the Reeves site. And so that will be a pretty robust agenda item. So the next meeting will be somewhat of a light but heavy. That will be the main show. And then something else, probably, what are you talking about, a student group?
Students.
I was trying to arrange a student group to come. So just be
It's the 14th.
aware of that.
The Tuesday after the long weekend.
And then,
All rested up, ready to go.
then we talked briefly about the other big topic, which is the MSBA, having that deliberated at the second meeting in October. Is that right? Next year, Chisholm?
Yes.
And so we will have the data from the survey done prior to the next meeting. And then we will, no, we won't. We will not. We will have it available for our deliberation meeting at the second meeting in October.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Because you're keeping it open till the back to school.
Yes. So we got to get those survey answers, so survey on. Okay. Anything else? Ms. Wetzel?
Sorry, I wonder if it might be helpful to have the interim director of technology come at some point.
We have that on the list, Ms.
Yep.
Wetzel. Thank you.
The new staff.
Thank you very much. We concurred with that. That technology was a good one. Some of the topics that we want to present is, not updates, but just a general reminder of our special education programming, various student groups, various personnel to explain initiatives in the district, MCAS, so we have a robust schedule for all of you to look forward to. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.